Hello Team Phoenix and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is your girl Catherine Minor. Please call me Kate Mimi. If we haven't met, I'm Catherine Minor and I'm a registered nurse in the United Kingdom from Kenya. I have been discussing matters to do with healthcare workers with a special interest in nurses, of course, because nursing is my tribe, isn't it? And also I do a lot of health education on this channel. So for people who are not medics, of course, I think you will find that one quite important for you. So go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel and I really appreciate. So we looked at the positives of the United Kingdom, 10 points. So once again, 10 points for the dirty and ugly, or the dirty and ugly, or the negative side of the United Kingdom. Let's talk about these things, because who will if we don't? Number one, for a first world country, the United Kingdom pays nurses terribly. I will say that without mincing my words. I will say that without fear of being misquoted. And this is just the truth. For a country that is a first world country, damn people, United Kingdom really shortchanges nurses. It does. The pay in the United Kingdom is actually less than what is offered in the United States, what is offered in Canada, what is offered in Australia, what is offered in New Zealand, and what is offered even in Sweden and Finland as well. I mean, it's like being in a first world but being paid a third world salary. I know how that sounds. I know how that sounds. So that's one disadvantage. Number two, the taxation in the United Kingdom is actually very high, and that is why it relates to number 1 point. Because of the heavy taxation in the United Kingdom, then the pay becomes quite small for you as a nurse, and especially a nurse who has black tax. A nurse who is thinking, my mom is looking up to me, my dad is looking up to me, my siblings are looking up to me, hey, I need to give my brother a better chance at life, I need to look at my aunties, I need to look at my cousins, I need to look after this and that. When you think about the salary in the United Kingdom, boss, nope, and no. So the taxation becomes very heavy. Probably the taxation becomes heavy because of one advantage that we talked about, that healthcare and school is free. There is nothing free, and Margaret Thatcher, the former Prime Minister, once Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, said the government does not have money apart from that which it gets from her people. So where do you think this free healthcare is coming from? Your pocket, my pocket. So yes, we are going to be properly taxed. We are going to be heavily taxed. And the Home Office will come knocking if you evade tax. The United Kingdom has no opportunity for you to run away from tax. You hear me? Yes. So those 2 points, I know they will bring a lot of furore, but it has to be said, right? The other thing is they limit you on the hours that you can work. They tell you that we know that you want to work extra hours, but you're only limited to 20 hours per week. 20 hours, that is like 2 days, isn't it? Yeah, it is that bad. So when you have your counterparts, for example, in the US telling you, oh, by the way, I clocked 45 hours, oh, I clocked 60 hours this week, and they have the money to show for it, for you in the UK, you're always looking at your visa terms. You're like, by the way, have I done 21 hours? Have I done 25 hours? No. Yes, they have improved right now because of the COVID-19 pandemic. There is no limitation, but the fact that there even was a limitation to start with, it tells you, no, it isn't. It is a negative thing. Okay. The other thing that happens is that the working hours are not very flexible. Hear me out. You work 12 hours shift. It's called a long day. I find that by the time you're hitting your 10th hour, you're very tired as a nurse. And a tired nurse, like I said in my video on radiotherapy, is a very dangerous nurse. Most mistakes happen around that time, towards the end of the shift, when your brain is tired. So if there was a way that there could be regular hours, for example, in Kenya, we used to have nurses do from morning to midday, others up to 2 p.m., and then another lot comes in. that could be better. You know what I mean? That could really be better. So the long working hours sometimes are not very great, but then again, you might think of them as an advantage because you work 3 long days and you get 4, 3 long days and you get 3 plus 4, 4 day offs. And within these day offs, you can go ahead and travel, you can go ahead and do something else that you like doing, or take up extra shift for that matter. But then again, that's up to you, isn't it? Another disadvantage is what I call subtle racism. There's a lot of subtle racism in the United Kingdom. Some places in the world, for example, okay, well, I won't mention names. The racism is so outward, it's so overt, so someone will call you names. But when you come to the United Kingdom, it is hidden in smiles, it is hidden in hiya, it is hidden in, just being friendly, but they end up at the back of their plans is actually something quite negative. They will isolate you, they will not include you in whatever they are doing, and some go to as much as calling you these people or those people. So yeah, racism is real in the United Kingdom, though not everywhere. I have to insist, not everywhere, but it's there, and it is quite subtle. You might not detect that it is there. So sometimes you don't even know that it is racism that is happening. So they will discriminate against you, but they will have a very beautiful reason for why they are not including you. So you have to be very alert, you have to be very awake and challenge racism. Challenge it when you find it, because this place has rules and regulations that actually protect you as a worker, and racism is shunned upon by every institution. So when you bring up a charge of racism against anyone, yes, it's going to be taken seriously. Okay, the other country is good. I said that you're going to upgrade your education, but then again, what I did not mention is that the school fees are very expensive for an overseas nurse, so you end up paying more than the home student, which is funny because you're here under your visa. So I don't see why you need to pay more than the home student, but anyway, that is just how it is. So in terms of school fees, it is quite expensive. Nursing in the United Kingdom sometimes reminds me of old tradition nursing. Perhaps it's because Florence Nightingale, has her origins here, and Mary Seacole and all those other foundresses of nursing. But the fact of the matter is, the nursing in the United Kingdom sometimes is very traditional. So you find that nurses are not very empowered to be independent unless they are specialists. So you come across a second year student and they don't know much, sincerely, in terms of nursing. You remember being a second year student in Kenya, you could literally run a ward, a department by yourself. You could go to doctors' wards round and interpret what is actually happening and be able to come up with a solution. You could challenge the medications that the patient is on and say, by the way, I don't think we're supposed to be doing this, we're supposed to be doing this other one. But when you come here, the students pretty much follow what is being documented. I really appreciate the high specialization of the United Kingdom, but I feel there's a lot that is being missed. The nursing has moved away from the traditional being told aspect. We are now talking about specialization, and if indeed this is what we are talking about, why don't we start at basic level nursing? Basic level nursing before we even think about people like band 6, band 7, people who are highly specialized. Let us leave those ones alone. Let us empower our students from the beginning. That's just my opinion. Nursing in the United Kingdom does not follow the NANDA nursing diagnosis. I don't know what we follow. By the way, every trust have their own process. If you're a nurse and you don't know what I mean by NANDA, then go back to your books. Please do go back to your books. So you need a program which is international. Stop being part of the global community, but also not following what is expected. It does not make sense. For example, the nursing process of the United Kingdom is different from NANDA in terms of, we talk about ADPI in NANDA. We say assessment, diagnosis, planning, intervention, evaluation. Okay? When you come to the United Kingdom, it is API. Assessment, planning, intervention, evaluation. What happened to nursing diagnosis? You tell me. That's what I mean. So it is not, well, it is just a process that works for United Kingdom, okay? So I find that one I find it to be denying students an opportunity to think, if you know what I mean. Because when you're thinking about a nursing diagnosis, you want to think about ineffective breathing pattern related to what? What is it related to? So that means you have to know the pathophysiology of whatever it is that you're dealing with, isn't it? You need to know the pathophysiology. So if you don't know the pathophysiology, you will not know what it is related to. And if you don't know what it is related to, you will not even know evidence by what. Does it even make sense? I really hope it does. So the fact that we don't have that nursing diagnosis part in the United Kingdom makes me query a lot of things in terms of the quality of education. The other thing is very high cost of living. Man, it is very expensive to live in the United Kingdom, and I will not lie about that. Other countries are also expensive, but the fact of the matter is that they pay better. So even if you're living in a very high cost living area like myself in London, you get that you're earning more money. So take a random city, for example, in the United States or Australia or wherever else you want to choose. You'll find that even if those places are very expensive to live in, they are paying better, so you can afford it. But you come to the United Kingdom, they don't pay you so great, but the places that are there are quite expensive. So I find that to be very unfair for nurses, especially nurses. I don't know, I've never seen nurses that work as hard as United Kingdom nurses. My gosh, they work extra hard and they are very loyal to the system. My goodness, British nurses love the NHS. We love the NHS. Hear what I said, we. I'm now part of the system. But I find for people that are so dedicated to a system, why don't you make their life a little bit easier? Yes, there are discounts in shops and all that, but that's not all. Try and at least bump up their pay. They don't need to feel like paupers. They don't need to feel like they can't afford gas. They can't afford a car even. They can't afford a mortgage. And if they do, they have to retire, then come back to work because they need the money. Come on, please. Make it better for them. They deserve it. They are amazing people, Bana. Just make life better for British nurses. So, the very high cost of living is not equal to the pay, and that is a disservice. Finally, my final point is, the United Kingdom will make your life comfortable, but it will never make you rich. If you want to get rich, think about somewhere else. Think about other things as well. Think about adding value to yourself. Those are the things that will make you rich. And not just because you're a nurse. No. It won't make you rich. I know nurses in other countries are very rich. Very rich. I know that. But not in the United Kingdom. You will have to think outside the box if you want to get rich in the UK. You just have to. Really, you just have to. So, that is it. That is the dirty and ugly of the United Kingdom. I hope you've learned something. And before you make a decision about coming to this place, please make sure you watch the advantages and then the disadvantages. And remember, these are personal opinion of Catherine. They do not reflect any institution. They do not represent any institution. They do not represent the nursing profession itself. They are just my opinion, okay? So, make up your mind and let's meet when we meet, shall we? And doo-doo!